America's pastime from Brandon's bullpen.
All right, big guy, you're a big Tampa Bay Rays fan. Why don't you explain to the people what's going on with Tampa Bay and all the insider news you got too, or something, man?
Well, I mean, for the last, it seems like since 2008, there's been stadium drama with the Rays, with Tropicana Field, especially like kind of buyer's remorse for the last 20 years. It seems like the Rays have been trying to find some way to get out of the Trop, get out of that dome from the 80s that it looks like an empty warehouse inside. If I'm being honest, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love my dome baseball. I love being able to go inside at 72 degrees. That's nice. I do believe and hope and pray that the new stadium has that kind of a feature, but it's just time for them to move shop. And so the last 5 years, there's been a lot of drama as to where will they go, what will they do, because the lease is up in about 2 years. Are they going to do a split city plan with Montreal? Are they just going to sell the team and move to Nashville or even go up the road to Orlando? 2023, they started getting some actual grounds to stay in the Tampa Bay area, although on the Pinellas County side in St. Pete, basically just in the parking lot of the old Trop. I was not the biggest fan of it just because it's not the most central location for the Tampa Bay area. And I've always been a proponent of the Tampa scene. And then about 2 years ago now, Hurricane Milton came in, destroyed the Trop, kind of ruined a lot of chances to, I would say, kind of keep the team in St. Pete. Talks kind of fell apart with Stu Sternberg, ownership group, and the rest of the team. And just pretty much there's just been this drama of will they stay, will they go? And it finally came to a head after Sternberg sold the team. Ownership now is brought up by Patrick Zalewski, and then Ken Babby is the CEO now. And within just a few months of them taking over, now we have people wondering how long is it going to take for them to start getting talks going for a new stadium. And here we go. The first, obviously, this is just talks right now, but they've already engaged with Hillsborough Community College, which, for those that don't know, is located right across the street from Raymond James Stadium and also right near Steinbrenner Field, where the Rays played in 2025. There was a unanimous vote to go ahead and approve talking between both the Rays and Hillsborough Community College to kind of figure out what to do with the 113-acre site that encompasses that whole campus. And a lot of people are feeling positive about it. I'm very excited. I think that, there are some people that don't think that moving right next door to the Buccaneers is a good idea. There's competing interests. I disagree. I think that if you can somehow combine the Raymond James Stadium, maybe even kick the Yankees out of Steinbrenner. All offense intended, G-Mike.
Whoa.
Hey, you had your time.
Relax.
You guys had your. We'll share it. We'll share it, but we get priority rights because it's Tampa. But a lot of people are kind of wondering how's it going to work. I think it will work really well. I think this ownership group has already shown so much initiative in getting stuff done. They don't want to waste time. They don't want to mince words. They don't want to get into politics and stuff like that. They just want to say, look, we want to build a ballpark here. We want to make this happen. We'll work with whatever we can to make it work. And I think that, it's going to be, I think, a great thing for the Tampa area, especially because, again, with what the Lightning did in Channelside and downtown Tampa and what the Bucks have done in the north side in Dale Mabry, I think combining the Rays there with this new stadium,
They're talking about Ybor City, right?
No. This is going to be in Dale Mabry as well, like right across the street from the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're literally like right next to each other. So people were like, how are they going to make it work with the overlap? I think it's fine because you can share parking lots, you can share amenities, you can build multiple mixed-use neighborhoods, kind of like what you have with the Battery in Atlanta. I think it's going to work big time, and I think that, again, it's centrally located in the Tampa area. People from St. Pete will come, people from Clearwater, people from even, I think, as far as Orlando, Lakeland. It's a good move, and I think it's the right thing to keep the Rays in Tampa Bay long-term, not just a short-term fix.
Well, having said that, we had someone checking in and asking as well. I think it's a pretty valid question here. The Rays have always had a good team, but you think the fans are going to show up in a new stadium? And it's a pretty valid question, really.
Yeah, I think if they decide to make it maybe instead of 35,000 seat stadium, if they go for like 25, make it a little bit more intimate, maybe a little smaller, but easier to fill out. I don't see how they wouldn't have at least double the, or let me see, not maybe not double, but they would at least have close to sellout numbers, kind of like what they had at Steinbrenner Field. I know it's pretty easy to sell out, a 10,000 seat minor league ballpark, but
Yeah, because that's only minor league though too. You could be doing that in major leagues, man. Like that ain't gonna work for major leagues.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that the location I think is what matters, and I do think that making it more accessible to the entire area and not adding 30 minutes extra going over the bridge, getting through downtown St. Pete traffic, I think that definitely alleviates a lot of the issues, especially for the majority of the crowds, which lie on the Hillsborough side of the bay.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of teams that's had some pretty loyal fans, even though they've been up and down or something like that. Ryan, I mean, you're a Denver, you're a Colorado guy. I mean, the Rockies have been interesting to say the least for the last few years or something like that. I mean, do you think? I mean, they're almost kind of like the Rays in the situation of they are a decent team, but just can't ever get the fans, or are they people just show up more for them? What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, so it's interesting because there's a nice parallel here because Tampa has a team but no stadium. Colorado has a beautiful stadium and no team. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something that we could work out there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing here. The business model for the Rockies has never been about winning. It's been, hey, everybody will go down to Coors Field. It's, it's one of the oldest ballparks in the league now. I know obviously Wrigley and Fenway, but I mean, it was built in 95 and, they update it just enough. It's a great ballpark, great place to go. They took out half the third deck like a decade ago and put this big, party bar up there.
Speaking of what Mike's saying, it's just basically a big bar with a baseball team attached.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. And that's what people do. I mean, I've gone to games there. Obviously, if they're making a playoff push, which is very rare, then obviously you get some of the diehards in there. But most it's just to go hang out downtown and have a beer, sit outside.
Yeah.
And it's not really looking up anytime soon. So I would much rather have the Rays. So maybe they could be the Denver Rays. Maybe we just help each other out. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But
I mean, if you guys want to offload and make some extra money, like we'll take Coors Field off your hands. Like I love the mountain wooded area that's out in center field. Like that's gorgeous. Like I love that idea. And I think honestly, like the new stadium needs to have some homages like that. Just some stuff that, like you said, even if you're not winning baseball games, people still want to be there. People still want to show up. Again, like with what Jeff Vinnick did with the Lightning in downtown Tampa. It's even if the Bolts don't win every night, it's such a fun atmosphere. It's vibrant. It's lively. People want to go and just be a part of it, even on a weekday. So, I think the winning is just still going to continue. Ownership's not really changing too much there. But what I think is that if they can add a little bit more of an atmosphere to the games, they can make that the place to be in Tampa, even on weekdays. I think you're going to see more payroll jump. And I think then that winning is going to be much more sustainable over time because you'll be able to sign your players long-term as opposed to trading them right before they're about to peak.
So when it comes to cities like that, right? Tampa, Miami over here. I don't know how it is in Colorado, but LA, New York, right? When you got, obviously New York is completely different because the New York Yankees are just the limelight of basically the city and everybody wants to go to those games. But with these big time cities and you got these baseball games in this example that you're not getting a lot of attendance to, it's tough to do that when you're in a city that there's a lot to do, right? You compare it to the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of people don't have a lot of stuff to do in Oklahoma City. So what are they going to do? They're going to go out to the game. But down here in Miami, a lot of people really, what's big over here is the Miami Dolphins. Sundays, that stadium is going to be packed no matter if they suck, no matter if they're good. But when it comes to the Marlins, you can literally buy the top dollar ticket, like nosebleeds, which come out to like $3, and you could scoot your butt all the way to the bottom and no one will tell the difference because it's
the Marlins might even pay you to play.
Literally, they pay you to show up. That's what it should be.
Well, and I will ask though, how much of that though too do you think is because of the atmosphere, or do you think just overall how the team has been run? Because I know they've got 2 World Series championships, which is great, but in between that, there's just so much losing, and there's just so much, lack of success, in between those championships, and then far after in 2020 or not 2023, 2003. So it does make you kind of wonder, but I don't know. I want to be optimistic about it, but I will say not to kind of have all the rose-colored glasses on, but I will say there is some people wondering with the new stadium coming in. The Bucks have been kind of putting out for renovations for Raymond James Stadium. I've heard that they might do a canopy thing just like Hard Rock does, which that would be pretty dope. I would like that. But it does make you wonder, how the relationship between the Bucks and the Rays is going to develop now that the Rays are looking to move in just right across the street.
Is that why
ahead.
wouldn't they just play where the Bucks play? If you're not getting so much attendance, like that's what the Miami Marlins before the Florida Marlins, they used to play in the Orange Bowl, and it's like why would you make another stadium if you're not going to have so much attendance? Might as well just ask Tampa Bay Buccaneers, give them a percentage off of it, and have the stadium there.
I think because the way Miami State or Hard Rock Stadium was before the Marlins left, there was a lot more space to be able to kind of like makeshift the field into a baseball field. Whereas the Bucks, it's pretty much like locked in. Like I think when the Savannah Bananas played baseball there, like you could tell. Like I think right field was maybe 200 feet, 250 at the most. So that's gonna really. Yeah, I think for MLB you have to have at least like 310 or 315 as like your minimum for your foul pole. So I would love that, honestly. That'd be nice, but I think because of that, that's the main reason why they can't get a dual use stadium out of it. And Ray J wasn't designed for a multi-purpose stadium anyway, unfortunately.
Well, and I always loved when football season starts, the preseason games, like up to week 4 or something, and you'd have half the field as the infield, and you're you're getting a first down at second base. I always thought that was fun.
You get to still home at the same time.
I was gonna say like the last dual purpose stadium that was still being used for the longest
Oakland.
time.
Okay.
Yep, and that's
Oakland, yeah.
Yep, landmark right there, man.
And, is it gonna be now? Is Las Vegas, because I know the Athletics are going to Vegas now, but are they going to have their own stadium?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they are, because again, what is it? Was it Allegiant is just basically a single-use stadium as far as for sporting events. So
yeah, and it's a dome. So and the dome's not even like, it's not like circular like that. It's a dome like flat.
Yeah, it's really it's one of those like. It's like a postmodern art masterpiece.
It almost looks like the Death Star, man.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the postmodern stadiums are looking like that now. So
yeah, the evil empire wins again. What do you know?
Yeah.